Hi, Muchausen Eugene. Welcome to another video from Exit Strategy. Real quick, guys, I just want to inform you guys about something that was a story in 23. But I do implore you guys to go and take a look into it. This is something that really bothers me, and even off camera, this is something that is this is one of my biggest fights. This is one of my biggest concerns in our world. Notwithstanding narcissistic personality disorder, but this falls within that category. On August 30th, 2023, some of you may remember Jody, Hildabrant, and Ruby Frank. They were YouTube creators, content creators, and they essentially had a YouTube platform where they were talking about Ruby Frank was the pigeon of Jody Hildabrant, and Hildabrant had this coaching, self-coaching, self-proclaimed coach, where she was essentially trying to empower women to do certain things and become very successful in that, whether it was parenting and different things like that, to be the best women that they could be, pretty much. Forgive me if I'm not as accurate as I should be. I don't really know the backstory as much as I did when I looked into this years ago. There's so much going on in the world, but I implore you guys to go check it out. Jody Hildabrant, Ruby Frank. This is very disturbing stuff. And the reason why I want you guys to go check it out, because these are things that are happening right up under our nose as adults who have been abused by these narcissists. Sometimes, and most often, we don't know that these demons are drastically and severely affecting the children. I'm dealing with something to this effect right now in my own life, and I have been for many years. This is why I've discovered this long ago, and it is heart-wrenching. And the reason why I don't want to do a recap on this story, because it's very emotional to me, but I do implore you guys to go and check it out. It's just anything you can find on YouTube about this. Anytime children are being maltreated or inhumanely treated, abused psychologically, physically, and whatnot, it needs to be outed. It needs to be exposed. And what you'll find in our society, if a man yells at his child, if a man is being the man of the house and he is putting down his foot pretty much and just being the leader of the house, that is frowned upon in this age. But the powers that be have a lot of us duped. They are trying to undo what God designed to be order, and they're trying to create disorder. And all of you women who have a decent man, you may not always embrace his tactics and everything that he aspires to do, but if his heart is genuinely in the right place, he's a fearing man of God. He fears God. He is not perfect, yet he is doing things of standard. He's not abusing his child. He's not trying to control his child. He has rules, he has boundaries, he has disciplines in place to help guide his children. That is the man that you need to stand behind. You may not always agree with everything your husband or your mate does, but you have to respect his decisions. You have to respect his decisions, because if you don't, you negate that to someone else who don't love you as much as your significant other does. And this is the demonic overthrow. You must understand this. A lot of you women don't know this until after the fact that you put this man out. You've distanced yourself away from him. And in this situation, if you go in and look at this influencer, Jody Hildabrant, she manipulated Ruby Frank. Ruby Frank was pretty much the pigeon. She influenced this woman to the point where Ruby Frank brought one of her children, if not most of them. She had 6 kids. She brought them to her, this lady, Jody Hildabrant, to discipline them and use her model of disciplines. And it's disturbing. Go and look at it. And you may say, well, I don't want to deal with that. You must look at these things. You must identify them in your world when you see them. Because if we don't look at these stories going forward, so our eyes will be sharp and our intuition will be sharper. And we don't dumb down these things. We can save children's lives. We can save children's livelihood. Because when this abuse happens at a young age, sometimes a child spends the rest of their life in therapy or trying to figure out how to be normal or how to be healthy and happy. Some of these children go on to become very suicidal. So it's very pivotal that we turn this thing around before it gets to that point. And she had one of the boys, ironically, these two women. They selected the boy, the 12-year-old boy, and oftentimes this kid was not able to get food. He didn't have access to water. He had to do a certain amount of things to be able to be granted food and water and access to the toilet. In a lot of cases, when they discovered and they went in and the police went in and they found that this kid had defecated in areas of this room they had him quarantined in or imprisoned in. Somehow he escaped and he was able to go knock on someone's door. First person didn't answer. You can see it on their home ring cam. And he went to the second guy's house. And what is so heart-wrenching and makes me emotional is when you hear this kid speaking in a calm, very respectful voice and asking this man, can he call the police? He said, I have two favors I want to ask you. And the one was, I need you to call the police station. And then he reneged on the second one. He said, well, in fact, that'll be the only one I need. This is disturbing, guys. What's most disturbing is when a person such as a man or anyone goes to the people that are in authority to make a difference because your hands are tied because of the laws that are your rights are infringed upon by these laws they put in place to keep you at a distance from your children most often. And in this case, this man was manipulated and thinking he was a problem, went to therapy, and consequently he was alienated from his children. That's a real thing, guys. Child parent alienation. I know what that feels like. I know what it looks like. It is very disturbing because you can't get that time lost with your child back. These things have made me stronger as a man. They've built my character as a man, as a human being. They've broken me in many ways, but they've built me. They've made me more vocal about things. They've made me more matter of fact about things. And they've made me, most of all, keep my eyes open to the things that are subtle in our world that most of us pass off, that most of us allow to go over our head because we dumb it down. It's not my business. It's not my concern. It's not my concern how people raise their kids. There's a difference. If you see something, they say something. That is the biggest crocker what I've ever heard in my life. Only thing people are saying when they see is something that really is none of their damn business and is irrelevant to anything wholeheartedly helping anyone. We have a world of gossipers. We have a society of gossipers. Everyone's out to shame somebody. Everyone's out to defame someone. Embarrass someone. Because they want to be the bearer of the bad news. But these things that are vital to the growth and humanity of children, they often get unheard if they're even spoken about. Go check that story out. Jody, Hildabrant, and Ruby Frank. Put that in the YouTube search and sit back and be prepared to be shaken. There are many more stories out here. Many more stories out here. There was a story about a grandmother many, many years ago. In essence, the granddaughter, I believe, had taken an ice cream out of the top of the refrigerator, the freezer area, without asking. She made this young girl, run around the house in 100+ degree weather with no water. Made her run laps around the house until this girl literally passed out and died from heat exhaustion. And heat exhaustion and what do you call it? Not having water, dehydrated. Narcissists don't have an off switch. The way that they try to discipline, it looks like it's noble, but it's not. They have an ego. They have a pride factor that to the untrained eye, if you're not looking for it, it goes over your head. But the ones of us who have disciplines in place, who are pretty solid in our ethics, we're the one that are deemed bad. You see how that works? It's a reversal. The narcissist takes your attributes and they trade them for theirs. We know this. How do you combat it? Keep your eyes open, pay attention. Keep notes, document. Expose it. Don't allow it to lay dormant. Don't allow it to go on untalked about. Go check the story out, guys. That being said, bless.